Are you midway in your renovation and you feel like there is no way out? You've been working your 9 to 5 job and you come home every evening and it's just a chaotic mess. And on top of that, you have to deal with your everyday needs and you feel like you're on a treadmill and you're not getting anywhere. And you're starting to question why in the world you even started a renovation anyways. And let me tell you, I've been there. I know exactly what that's like. And I'm going to show you how I got out of that cycle and how ultimately I became more rested and less stressed in my everyday life. If you're new around here, my name's Noah, and today I'm going to show you how I did all these things. Let's get into it. So my family and I had bought a 30-year-old farmhouse on 20 acres about a year and a half ago. And this house had kind of been a little bit neglected. It had not been lived in for about 5 years. So whenever houses sit for a bit, they can kind of go to shambles just a little bit. It wasn't bad, but there was definitely some stuff that needed to be done to it before we could even think about moving in. We were living in an RV at the time on a campground, and eventually we had pulled the RV over because they had a RV hookup here. So that really worked out well. And I was already doing renovation work about an hour away. I worked for some buddies of mine, and I would come home every day and knock out as much as I could on the house, and then, of course, go back to sleep and then go off to work the next day. The problem that I had when we were originally planning, like, hey, when can we move in sort of thing, we didn't really have a date in mind. So it was more so like as soon as possible, which is, most people. But I made the mistake of working 7 days a week, whether it be at my job and on the house or just at the house in general. And I got burnout real quick, like 2.5 months in, 2.5, 3 months, something like that. And nothing was fun. I dreaded doing any work. I still, plowed through it, which is usually what I do. And I just didn't enjoy it because I love renovating houses. And that's something I enjoy a lot. And I love recreating things, making things better than what they once were. But I did not have that passion for it at that time. And I kind of got fed up with things, just frustrated. And I said, you know what? I need a break. So I took a week and a half break from work and also the house. And I focused on just decompressing, don't do any work, go have fun, because I needed that recharge. And so when I came back, I was still dreading doing a lot of the stuff, but it had gotten better. I started enjoying some aspects of what I was doing. Like, I think I was painting cabinets at the time. That's when I kind of started back. And painting cabinets is usually one of my favorite parts of renovating a home. And so I started having fun again, but I took necessary breaks. Don't work 7 days a week. It is not the thing about this is that it is not a sprint, it is a marathon. That's what renovations are. You cannot sprint through them and be sustainable if you're doing it all yourself. Because the thing is, it's not that my family wasn't helping me at all. Like, they were a massive help. I am so grateful for them helping out whenever I was gone. And they did a lot. But the I had more knowledge because that was what I did for a living. We had to take out a load bearing wall in the kitchen. We had to rerun electrical. We had to do quite a bit of different things, and some of that just required more experience. So I don't. That's just something that I had to do, and we even had to replace the shower in the master bedroom and master bathroom, and rechange some stuff because some stuff was just funky about this house. Not in a bad way, but it was just more so. There was in the master bedroom, there would be a his and her closet, but also two more closets. So it kind of looked like there was a game show going on whenever you sat in there, because it would be four doors all side by side, and it would be that paneling trailer home door, and it was just really weird. So we had to rethink stuff. But anyways, that was just something that we had to go through, and we fixed it, thankfully. But my point is, don't run through this like a sprint. Pace yourself, give yourself grace, and let it be a marathon. But that's when I started to realize, okay, I need to prioritize my rest, because my energy is one of the most important things. My cognitive ability, my creativity, all of that is so important that I need to prioritize it. And then later on, I came upon this principle called the 80-20 rule. And no, it's not about diets. The 80-20 rule applies to a lot of things, but particularly for working, it says that 20% of your effort produces 80% of your production of what you're doing. So what does that look like? Well, I'll give you an example. I was working on a retail job later on, and I decided to use this principle when I first heard it. And I said, okay, well, before I started implementing this principle, I would feel tired, exhausted, and just kind of like as in the Lord of the Rings, how Bilbo says, I feel like butter scraped across too much bread. Well, that's what I felt like. And I just, I started implementing this. So I said, okay, I started to prioritize and cut out the busy work in my everyday life. And I focused on the 20% because the extra 80% of effort is pretty much just busy work. It's not really doing anything. And I said, okay, well, before the morning rush comes, I'm going to prioritize for an hour and a half of important things that I need to get done that I cannot do later. And this might be like, oh, yeah, sure. But the thing is, I prioritized that. I got it done. And then I would take a 15-minute break. And I would do this throughout the day. And notice that whenever you get things up to speed, it starts riding like a smooth sailing from there. And it just kind of ran itself, and you didn't have to do a whole lot of input into it. That's what is cool about, just a fine-tuned machine. And I would go home at the end of the day just as rested as when I came in that morning. And that itself is phenomenal. But the thing is, before that, I had the mindset of a mule. And when I say that, I mean, I had the older generation mindset of work until you drop, work because you are on the clock. Now, I understand that, and I am not at all saying that I do not want to do a hard day's work. I'm not saying that at all. But if you're just doing busy work that's not important to your highly productive work, you got this thing all wrong, and you are running through your job all the wrong way. So that is a broken mindset I learned. And it really hit me, because I was like, oh, okay, well, how can I look at things now? Because that's always how I've been. I've always tried to be the hardest working person out there on the crew or whatever. And I learned that, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I learned that prioritizing your cognitive ability and your creative potential, and prioritizing the most important job of your day, in your day, will make things go way easier, and you'll have to put in a lot less effort, because you're still getting that 80% productivity. And those percentages might vary. It may be like 30% effort, 70% productivity, but the principle still applies, that you're working in circles, not getting anywhere. And that is something to really think about. And I also want to say, done is better than perfect. I learned this by a farmer friend of mine, and it's really a good principle to follow. Not to say that you should cut corners, or that if something's unsafe, then you should overlook it. That's not at all what I'm saying. That should be straightened out. But the fact that you did it yourself, you're not a professional, but you still got it done, and it looks pretty close to a professional look, it's okay. That's one of the beautiful things about renovations, that you can always fix it. So I want to leave you with an encouraging word, that even though I did not enjoy a lot of our renovation, and I don't really like looking back on it sometimes, just because of the burnout, I am so glad that we did do it, though. We could have built our own house or had somebody build it for us, but I know that we were supposed to do it this way, and I'm so glad we did, because we built deeper relationships with each other. We built memories with one another, and you learn something new every day. That's one of the best things about renovations. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section down below. Till next time, I'll see you later.